together.
That's right. Make Stockton better together. All right. So, you know what? Let's start this track over because this is the best bomb song. And thank you for tuning in. Appreciate you. KXVS, the voice of Stockton with Donovan and Mr. Details, Dustin Breakwheel. This is Governor Don signing off.
For over 70 years, Smokey Bear has asked you to use fire responsibly.
Fire is due to an unattended campfire.
Go time.
Here's how you can stay on the front lines of preventing wildfires. Always watch your campfire. Before leaving, drown it, stir it, drown it again, and feel that the fire is out cold.
Oh, bullseye!
And you won't need a visit from Dusty's team.
Copy that.
Visit SmokeyBear.com for more fire prevention tips. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state foresters, and the Ad Council.
Good afternoon. This is Jocelyn with KXVS 92.1, the voice of Stockton. And we're here today with our guest, Jennah Lee. She's our watercolor artist, and she's going to talk to us a little bit about her work and what she does in the community. And I'm still kind of new to this, so a little bit nervous, but I'm going to get into this. And yeah, this is going to be our usual show for Wednesdays, 12 to 1, Breaking Barriers. And the reason why it's called Breaking Barriers is because I'm actually from the Weston Ranch area of Stockton. And sometimes we feel like we're at a disconnect over there because the unique thing about being in Weston Ranch is we are within the Stockton borders, but we're also Manteca Unified School District. So sometimes, you know, we've got people that are saying, yeah, we're part of South Stockton, but some people are saying, no, we're not South Stockton at all. We're something completely different. We're our own island. We're surrounded by this body of water and levees that could actually fall apart any minute now, but no, we're doing good. But anyway, we're going to talk about Jennah's influences and how she got into watercolor art and, you know, a little bit of her background and some things she does in the community, which includes Western Ranch Visual Arts Boosters, which actually is having a meeting this afternoon at 2:30 at Western Ranch High School. And they're a group that supports the arts in the Western Ranch community. And so, Jennah, go ahead and introduce yourself, like, you know, your information on some of your artwork and you know, a little bit of your influences and background.
Yeah, my name is Jennah. I'm 19 years old. I've always kind of had an interest in art, even from an early age, but I didn't actually really start to kind of explore that interest until about high school when I started taking art classes. I've tried a whole ton of different mediums from, you know, like sculpting and kind of using clay and things like that to actually switching to paint, which right now I'm actually really enjoying watercolor, and it's kind of the only medium that I've really stuck to for this long. So I'm really enjoying it, and I'm trying to evolve as I go with it and kind of learn different techniques and everything like that. So
where do you get your technique ideas? I noticed that, like, for example, where is that one with the nice gradient? This one's pretty awesome. I don't know if you guys could see that, but where did you get that idea from?
That one I was just trying to kind of explore textures and the different techniques that you can achieve with the variation of proportions between water and paint, as well as the different kind of textures you can achieve depending on the brush you use. And this one I was just trying to practice control between the proportions of water to paint, and that's kind of how I got the gradient.
Yeah, that's really cool. I like how it's really subtle and very liquid. So, any influences, like any artists that you like in particular that gave you some of these ideas?
Oh gosh, yeah, I have a ton. A lot of them I discovered through either Pinterest or YouTube. Those are my two main tools.
YouTube has everything. Gosh, you can do anything on YouTube.
Yeah, that's part of how I got started in watercolor, was looking up tutorials. Some of the channels that I really enjoy watching is Mary Doodles, Watercolor Misfit, The Mind of Watercolor. I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, but her channel is Pear Fleur. She's really awesome too. A whole ton of them. Also, I like Sid Weiler. She actually has kind of gone viral because she has done these Facebook stickers called the Trash Dove stickers, I think. And she's the artist for that. I find her really inspiring. I love her kind of graphic art style. Who else?
Sweet.
Yeah, a ton. A lot.
That's awesome. When did you actually pick up a brush and make those first strokes? Can you remember how old you were when you actually started doing that? I know there's some people that started super early in life, and then there's some that kind of started later on. Do you feel like you were a natural at it, or did you actually have to like read books and get techniques that way? You know?
Definitely not a natural in my opinion. Like I said, I watched a lot of YouTube videos and kind of doing research and stuff, but I actually didn't pick up a brush and start really exploring the painting side of art until about maybe a year and a half ago.
Wow.
Really.
So a year, and you've gotten all this already under your belt. And this looks like a project you're still working on, like a work in progress, right?
A lot of them are work in progresses. And
so tell me a little bit about this piece right here.
this one was actually inspired by a project that I had done in my high school art class. We did a monochromatic art project where we had to take one color of our choice and vary the shade of it using either white or black. This one, in watercolor, you don't actually have to use white or black as much. You can actually just vary the saturation of the paint depending on how much water you use. So the more water you use, the less opaque it is. The less water you use, the more saturated the color will be. So I was just kind of playing with, again, the techniques and textures that watercolor can give you.
So is this going to remain kind of like this monochromatic color, or are you going to add a little bit more to that?
I'm definitely just going to stick with that red color, but I might add some extra details to it here and there.
Okay. And you mentioned that you had gotten this idea from a project in high school. Mm-hmm. And which high school did you attend?
I went to Weston Ranch High School. I graduated 2015.
Okay, alumni.
Ooh, go Cougars.
Yes. And being in Weston Ranch, what activities did you feel were lacking in the area, and what activities did you feel were really popular as a youth growing up in that particular community?
Sports have always definitely been kind of in the foreground, especially at the high school, which is great. You know, a lot of I noticed, you know, when you see in the movies, there's really defined lines between the different types of students. There's the art geeks, the band geeks, the AP students, there's the jocks. But everybody, at least at my high school, everybody was kind of all a part of all the different groups. So a lot of AP students that I hung out with were also in sports. A lot of those students were also in bands. So they kind of interchanged with each other.
Awesome.
It was really awesome.
It's not as cliquish, I guess, as I thought. Well, growing up in high school in the Bay Area, there were some cliques, but it was very similar too. We kind of, you know, I was with the band group, I was in art, and we just kind of intermingled, and it wasn't a big deal. Not very cliquish, which is good. What other things did you get involved in growing up in that area aside from art? You said maybe some music as well, or
I was
you were in a few talent shows or something?
Yeah, I pretty much did all the different kinds of arts, from performing arts to just visual arts. Starting out in high school, I did a lot of talent shows. I played guitar and I sang. My sophomore year of high school, I joined show choir. The instructor there was Miss Claude.
So it's like a total Glee episode each time?
Yes, that's basically, that was a lot of our inspiration too.
That's awesome. Okay. Well, what was your very first talent show? I mean, what was that like?
Nerve-wracking. I was sweating and shaking, and I could hear the...
Do you remember what grade you were in when you were doing that?
I was a freshman, and I remember nobody knew me because I was a freshman. But
oh God, that's so hard to just break in and just be a freshman and try and it
was tough. Like, my only friends were the ones that were from my elementary school, which was George Comeray. But yeah, I remember nobody really knew me as a freshman, but they still, really cheered me on, which is really nice.
That's cool.
The whole student body is very supportive of each other, which is great.
Do you remember what song it was, or what you performed?
It was a Taylor Swift song, but I don't remember which one it was.
Oh, wait, didn't you perform that with someone, along with someone else? Or was that?
No, that was just by myself. I did do a second Taylor Swift song my senior year, and that one was a lot more loose, and we totally just winged it.
Okay.
We pulled in the whole backstage crew at the last minute. So
cool. And then how was so you got to choir, you went to talent shows. How was choir like?
Choir was really fun. I think because I've been in regular choir before, but I enjoyed show choir more because the instructor, Miss Claude, she wanted to make sure that we incorporated dance and kind of non-traditional songs. We did covers of a lot of things, just like in the show Glee, and it was really fun. Everybody really enjoyed each other. It was a pretty fun, energetic class.
Awesome. So show me a little bit more about your current projects. What have you got going on currently? As far as I know that you said you're working on a wine label or something like that.
I did have a wine label commission a few months ago that I ended up finishing. This is a rough draft right here, if you want to.
Sure. See if we can get that up there. So this was like your first
That was like
draft,
the
first idea.
main draft.
And I do have a picture of your final one that was sent to me. Let's see if we get this. So this was like a rough draft. Now, what inspired you to have this image as your wine label? I mean, it's kind of like, where is that? And
that is really actually the backyard of the owner of the winery. They live up in Pioneer, which is just gorgeous. I mean, it's just mountains and trees everywhere. It's just absolutely gorgeous. And they have this really huge blue spruce in their backyard, which is that big tree kind of in the forefront there. And
let me see if I have a picture of the final piece. I think somebody... Okay, let's see. Here it is. It's on my phone. That's the only thing. I hope that people can see that. Ooh. It's kind of hard to see. So it's less of the landscape and more isolated, basically.
Yeah, I switched the orientation because I wanted the blue spruce to really be the main focus of it. So. And
what's cool is this way you can add more lettering and fonts and all of the other graphic that they will lay on top of that. You got the main image right there. Okay, so that's one of the projects. Awesome. Any special techniques that you used on? I love the way you did the trees.
That was probably the most painstaking part of the...
That's like machine style right there. Look at that. It's
I'd use a very small brush and a lot of time to do that particular layer of the painting.
And the sky is pretty.
Yeah.
Because it's got the gradient of the purple to the red to the orange.
Yeah. I was working on that for quite a few months, and it took forever for all the pieces to kind of fall into place in my mind before I realized where I wanted to kind of take the image.
Yeah. So do you have a website or a way that people can reach you if they want you to do certain kind of projects like this, wine labels or any other type of work, commissioned work?
I currently don't have a website, but I did just open an Instagram page where I kind of just put all my art stuff on display, even my sketchbook doodles, which a lot of them aren't very serious, so...
Hey, that's where you get the serious ideas, though. You end up getting the serious ideas from that. So what is the Instagram page?
The Instagram is punkypanda.art. It's PUNKIE panda.art.
Like cookie.
Yeah,
I-E.
like cookie.
punkypanda.art. Awesome. Okay. So before we go on our break, I think we're going to have a break in a few minutes. I want to go ahead and just talk about KXVS for a little bit. If you want to become a sponsor, you can join KXVS. Go to thevoiceofstockton.org. And we're also streaming live on YouTube as well as Facebook. And it's 92.1, The Voice of Stockton, 92.1 FM. And as I mentioned before, I'm the host of this show, Breaking Barriers. This is the first show we've had. And we're trying to break barriers through art, via music, performance, and also kind of regionally too, because certain communities feel a little bit isolated, and I want to kind of bring that to our attention as well, where some of the youth need more things to do, and their parents need to know that there are activities and events for the youth out there, and not just in, the midtown Stockton, but down in the southern end of Stockton as well. So Breaking Barriers here on KXVS 92.1, The Voice of Stockton. We'll be back. We'll talk more I'll talk to Jen a little bit more after our little break.
You don't usually get a stock tip from a 16-year-old, but I'm here to tell you about a different kind of stock. It's called Better Futures, a stock for social change that's not about making money. Instead, you invest to help students like me go to college, which ends up making the future better for all of us. My name is Alicia, and I'm your dividend.
Invest in better futures with UNCF. Visit uncf.org/invest. A mind is a terrible thing to waste, but a wonderful thing to invest in. Brought to you by UNCF and the Ad Council.
Hello, Port City. Happy Hump Day. It's Jocelyn here as your host on Breaking Barriers Spotlight. Breaking Barriers from 12 to 1 weekdays. And today our guest is Jennah Lee. She does watercolors and has a few things to share with us, as well as letting her know having her let us know what she's got going on currently in the community and other different projects that she's got. So this is Jennah and Jennah. Why don't you talk about that? Because I've just thought that is completely different from
Yeah.
your other stuff. It's more
So I don't know if I
like
can see.
pen and graphic. It's like a completely different look from your watercolors. So what made you
Yeah.
decide to do that?
I kind of wanted to do a similar take on, because the whole Picasso idea, using the single line to create an image, but
So this is done with just a single line.
not really, but it was supposed to
You
kind of
cheated.
look. Yeah, I kind of cheated a little bit,
Okay.
but I was just kind of, again, those are more like sketchbook doodles, but I just wanted to kind of take a strike at trying to draw faces, because not really a huge fan of the photorealism style, just because
This is more like a character.
yeah.
Right?
So those really took me like 20 seconds to draw, because one of the things that I have a tough time with in my art is I struggle a lot with trying to make sure that all the details are perfect, and I get so wrapped up in trying to make sure that all the little things come out right that I kind of lose myself in the big picture, literally.
So this is Marilyn Monroe. I love this one.
Yeah, so those were just an exercise for me to kind of break out of that kind of habit and just force myself to just draw the
George
big picture
Clooney,
instead
right?
of, yeah.
Yeah. That is awesome. And then this one is
Jay-Z.
I love it.
I just looked up
It's
Google
totally-
images for celebrities, so
That's great. And then this one is John Travolta.
that's probably the better one out of all of them.
I don't know, I think they're all pretty good. And it's just like I said, it's a completely different technique from
Yes.
your watercolors. It's a nice little break in style. So good. Let's see here. These are really cute. Here's another different style. It's more of like a splatter. Whoops. Whoop. There we go. Splatter kind of look there. And then again, you're probably trying out different ways of getting color on there with the watercolors. And then this one here is another different look. But again, it's watercolors, and let's see. These I love. I'm actually thinking, wouldn't that be a really cool tat? I should commission her to do a tat for me. Instead of the koi, you've got a little goldfish.
Yeah.
So that's really cool. What was your idea? What were you experimenting on with this?
That one I was trying to figure out what kind of textures I could achieve with a little bit drier of a brush. So instead of the brush being soaked with water, which would give you kind of a more, I guess, kind of a sharper edge, this one, if you kind of flick the brush out and it doesn't have as much paint and water on it, it actually gives you kind of this raggedy
I could totally
edge.
see that.
It's, yeah. So I wanted to kind of
around
see
the edges
Mm-hmm.
on the fin.
So I was just kind of playing with brush strokes and stuff, and then at first it was just a bunch of swishes on the paper, but I kind of added some pen and ink into it, and it turned into a fish.
I love how you can define it even more with the fine lines of the pen. Okay. Same thing with this one. A lighter color with a graphite pen. Was it a graphite pen? Or wait, a graphic pen?
Yeah, graphic pen.
Keep thinking graphite. Okay. This is cute.
That one was actually inspired by my dog, because he's got
Your
a pretty
dog?
yeah he's got a pretty
Wow.
sassy attitude sometimes, and he's, I don't know, I just kind of
What does
started.
it say right there?
It says "with love from Chad." That's Chad the boar. It's just a character that I made up.
It's like Pumbaa. Huh?
Yeah, it's kind of cross between Pumbaa and my dog.
Cute. And then I know that you were working on this. This was just on your Instagram the other day.
Yes, that one's still a
What
work in progress.
Is that?
It's an abandoned Volkswagen bus.
Here, why
This
don't you hold
one
it up?
was inspired by an artist named Sid Weiler. Again, she's the one that did the Trash Dev stickers on Facebook. I don't know where we are.
Yeah, right here.
And she did this art series called Cardins, and what she did was she took a bunch of different cars, like a mail truck, an old Volkswagen Beetle, a broken down farm truck, and she turned it into something really awesome. She kind of added like these floral textures to it, and I think she does more digital graphic art. She doesn't actually paint it, and that's the look that I was trying to achieve with this, with my own twist with kind of like vines and everything. And
have you tried digital art yet?
I have.
What program did you use as far as digital?
I used this program called Sketchbook by Autodesk, I believe.
Okay.
It's a really, really amazing program. I loved it a lot, but it just didn't click with me. I guess I just prefer just the actual paper and brush kind of feeling. Is just really hard for me to get a grasp of it. And I might go back to it eventually, but it's just not something that really kept my interest for very long.
I've actually tried doing digital art before, and it's really hard. The pen and just trying to... It's a big transfer from actual paper, holding the paper in your hand, feeling the texture. I think it's a texture thing. Yeah. And what happens is if you're a total texture person, you're missing that element of it, and it's like, oh no, I can't see the little bumps on the paper.
Yeah.
You know, digital art's really tough, although I do like it too. I'm a graphic artist, so it's just a completely different way to work. More like 2D. Okay,
yeah.
Let's see. What else do we have here that you want to show? Oh, and I know that last year you had some of your work displayed at an exhibit.
I did, yes.
And the exhibit was A World Without Art. And there were some pieces that I know that you had up on display there. One of it was this one here.
Yep.
Which got a lot of attention. I don't know if...
Yeah, actually, someone had bought the print, not even the prints that were sale. He bought the print that was on display. And right off the wall, basically, because he liked it so much. And it was... I didn't really expect anything of it. I just kind of was...
That
just
was
putting my
actually
art
your
out there.
first formal entry for like an actual exhibit.
Mm-hmm.
Here's another piece that she had up at A World Without Art exhibit last year. That one's really pretty. If you can't see the little specks of gold, it's something that you'd have to see like in real life, like in person.
Mm-hmm.
So, and a lot of these were duplicated, and these pieces here are the actual...
Those are the originals,
pieces,
yes.
the original pieces. And when they were duplicated, it's nothing like the original. I mean, there's a color variation, and the gradients are completely different. And we don't know if it's the way it was saved and captured as digital, or if it was the way it was printed. It could be a combination of both. But yeah, huge difference. And here's another one that I think is really cool. It's got a skull within the branches of the tree, and that's another piece that was actually on display at A World Without Art also. Are you planning on having some more of your work displayed at the local art exhibits?
Yes, definitely, yeah.
Because I know that there's one coming up next month, Art Against Violence, which is something that I was actually, I was very much involved with it in the past, like about a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
Helped out with the exhibit over there at the San Joaquin County Fairgrounds, and this year it is from March 1st to April 2nd, I believe. And should see if we can get, it may be too late, but here's another nice piece. Oops.
Yeah, I've been to the previous Art Against Violence exhibits in the past years, and I love... It's amazing how many artists we have here in Stockton, just locally.
You had volunteered for being at the front table, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember that, like, not last year, but was it the year before?
Yes.
2015. Yeah.
Pretty sure.
Yeah, I can't wait to see that exhibit again. It's always a treat to see all of the local artists.
It's a great way to get inspiration too.
Heck yeah, familiar ones and some new ones, so it'll be kind of cool. Tell me a little bit about this abstract here.
That one was inspired by another one of my favorite artists. I believe her name is Camille Rose Garcia.
Oh,
she does
she's
more,
great.
yeah, her style is a lot more kind of grungy, kind of creepy, but still kind of childish, not really childish, but kind of whimsical. And it's great. And I was trying to achieve a similar look that she does with her backgrounds, which she does mixed media, and some of her art pieces looks like there's like wood textures and acrylic paints.
Looks
and
really weathered, like it's just rusted over and just
neglected.
Yeah, she's got great texture. See, it's what happens when you're a texture person. That's what you're looking for, all the different textures.
Yeah.
But I like that. I hope you do something with that, because that's a really cool effect.
Yeah, that was just kind of me again. A lot of my stuff is just playing around and just learning still. So that's what I was trying to do there.
What other projects have you had where people are like, hey, I want that piece, I'm gonna buy that, or are there any other ones? Or
when I was in high school, which was only like a year or two ago, I did.
The district
I
art
entered
show.
some of my pieces into
That's
the
right.
district art show.
Yeah.
And I didn't really put anything on display with the intention of selling it, but then I got offers on 2 of my art pieces, which were a couple of my favorite ones, and I was kind of disappointed to let them go. But the district art building actually bought them from me to put on display at the building. So
Gotta go see if it's up on display.
yeah, I don't know where they put it, but it should be in that building somewhere.
It's not a very big building, but look through all the rooms.
Yeah.
Let's see. This is another completely different style.
That one I was
It's more
trying.
like toll paint. I don't know. I think it's like more like toll painting, isn't it? Or no? Yes? No?
I don't know.
This would be a great picture frame.
Yeah, that one, I was,
So pretty.
another idea I was playing around with was having my own, like, stationery line where I kind of, like, or like a greeting card kind of line or something, and that one was one that I had kind of just came up with randomly, and
Yes. Awesome.
again, playing around with techniques and stuff, and
Great. And then, we saw this one already. And then this one. This is something new that you were working on. And when I first saw this piece, I just thought, it's an eyeball and it needs red, bloodshot.
No.
I kind of tend to lean towards the morbid side, but no, it needs something to kind of like define that it's an eyeball. And I thought bloodshot eyes,
Yeah.
But she's like, no.
no, it's
No,
not
we're
really.
going with a bloodshot eye look. No.
Well, it's not really, it's kind of, it started off as an eyeball, but then as you paint, it sometimes kind of takes on its own form, and I wanted it to look a little bit abstract. I don't want it to look too much like an eyeball. I want it to kind of be, like my boyfriend, he looked at it and he said, oh, it looks like a black hole collapsing in on itself.
Sweet.
So,
it is very, you can
yeah,
interpret
I
it
really
any way
like
you
that,
want.
so.
Yeah. How did you get the, kind of like a bleed over on some parts?
Yeah, again,
Is that a
one's-
dry brush or is that
Yes.
with a wet?
Well, it started off wet. I used a lot of water to really dilute the paint so that it would bleed. And then once that dried, I went back with a dry brush to kind of add some extra layers and textures so that it got that kind of, I don't know what you'd call that texture.
Kind of galactic.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's awesome. When I was learning watercolors a long time ago, I think I was like in junior high, I only got up to sky gradient. That's it. like you apply the color across the paper, and then you take a wet brush with water, and then you stroke that through, and then you do it over and over and do it. Yeah, that's all.
I'd love to take a watercolor class. A lot of the stuff that I've learned is just stuff that I've either come up with on my own, but 90% of it is just stuff that I looked up on YouTube or Pinterest in terms of trying to
okay. Well, we're going to take a real quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about what things she's got going on currently, as far as what's Jennah doing now, out of high school, being an alumni of Weston Ranch High School. So join us, coming back in a few minutes, KXVS 92.1, the voice of Stockton, here on Spotlight Breaking Barriers.
Dear Smokey Bear, for teaching us how to prevent wildfires for 70 years, outdoor lovers everywhere want to give you a bear hug.
I want to give Smokey a bear hug for teaching me that a fire isn't out till it's cold.
For teaching me to douse my fire with water, stir the ashes, and douse it again.
For showing me that sparks from a dragon tow chain can start a wildfire.
For being a big fuzzy bear. I like big fuzzy bears.
Happy 70th, big guy. Let's bring it in for a bear hug. Come on.
Wish Smokey a happy birthday using hashtag Smokey Bear Hug. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state foresters, and the Ad Council.
We're back with Breaking Barriers here. I'm your host, Jocelyn, and my guest, Jennah. She's a local artist, and I'm a musician, apparently. So that's going to be another show altogether, right? Thank you for joining us here at KXVS 92.1, the voice of Stockton. You can find us on Facebook. If you do a search for KXVS, we are usually on Facebook Live, as well as YouTube. Also, if you do a search on KXVS. Also, that we have a website at www.thevoiceofstockton.org. You can find it, all the links there, I believe. And we had Katie Rogers actually scheduled today, but we switched the schedule around a little bit. We're hoping that she's going to be able to make it here next Wednesday. So she's that's what we've got planned for next week, is for Katie to be here. And she's a musician. She sings, she plays the piano, she plays the guitar, and she's also been on the Voice. As far as like she's actually auditioned and went through the process. So it'd be a treat to see her next Wednesday here at KXVS. So Jennah, let's see. You were talking earlier about Weston Ranch Visual Arts Boosters. Can you tell us a little bit about what that is for, what it's about, what they've done currently?
Well, the arts in Weston Ranch in general, actually really anywhere, is always really kind of underrepresented. And the Visual Arts Booster is just like any other. It's like the sports boosters. It's a means of kind of raising funds and spreading awareness for the arts. In particular, this one is for visual arts. So the art instructor at Weston Ranch High School, Miss Eatington, she's a wonderful instructor, but sometimes she needs help with, getting supplies or coming up with ideas to kind of really represent the art community in general, and kind of gain a better interest from the students, because it's a great way of staying productive, staying busy for those that may not be interested in band or sports.
Yeah, because not everybody is athletic.
Right.
And a lot of people are more cerebral, but it's a good balance to have all of those things available for our youth. There's one, I know that they're trying to even get a field trip put together for the students to go on a day trip to some of our local galleries and museums here in town. So that would be great. I know that's something that they're thinking about doing for spring this year. What are there any community activities that they've done? I understand that they had like a parole making class at the Western Ranch Library. A parole is like one of those Filipino stars that is, the framework is out of bamboo, and there's like a tissue and a clear film that they put together with it, and it's something that they display during the holiday season, the Christmas holiday season. And they had a class for that at Western Ranch Library back in December. So that's one thing. They do also have activities that they share with the community, which is good. It's all encompassing. It's community as well as the students at Weston Ranch High School. So as an alumni of Weston Ranch High School, what have you got currently? I mean, what did you decide to do after, aside from your art, which looks like an awesome hobby? Is there anything else that you've been working on? I mean, what did you decide to do after high school?
After high school, I decided that I was going to pursue a career in nursing. So I am taking classes at Delta College right now for the kind of general education undergrad stuff, for transferring, or if I decide that I want to do that nursing program at Delta. And also to kind of further and kind of get my foot into the medical field sooner. I decided that I was going to go for medical assisting and get a state license in that, or state certification in that. So I went to Lodi's Lincoln Technical Academy, which is also doubles as an adult school, which is awesome because it's a really wide array of not just high school students, but also adults as well, from various ages and various walks of life, which it's really interesting. You get to meet a lot of really awesome people with different experiences, and you don't just learn from the curriculum at the school, you also learn from each other, because some of them already have experience in the medical field, which is great.
And they do have like an externship program where you're actually out there in the workforce for a little bit of time. They give you a little bit of experience on that too, right?
Yeah.
Something like that.
I just finished 200 hours at Lodi Urological Medical Group. They're an awesome bunch. They're so helpful and nice and very understanding. It's really great.
Yeah. So you've got this awesome hobby, and then you combine it with some of your medical knowledge. Who knows? Maybe your artwork will evolve into something different. Right now you've got landscape and fun things, and maybe later on you'll get more into like anatomy, or you never know.
Yeah.
This is another piece one last one that we wanted to see here. It's more like the galaxy. Well, let's see here. These two different styles. And like I mentioned before, if you're interested in some of Jennah's work and possibly contacting her for any projects that you'd like her to work on with you, she's got an Instagram page. It's Punky Panda panda.art. And punky is with an IE, so PUNKIE, panda.art. So again, this is Breaking Barriers, and I'd like to bring other guests on board if you want to come in and show some of your art and perform some of your music. Just find me on Facebook. My name is Jocelyn Conde on Facebook, and just let me know what you've got, and then we can get you on the show. You're listening to KXVS 92.1. The Voice of Stockton. Next week, we're going to have Katie Rogers as our guest, and she's going to share some of her music with us, as well as some of the things that she currently is involved in the community. So this afternoon is the Boosters meeting at Weston Ranch High School. That's at 2:30 if you want to join us there at room 901 at Weston Ranch High School. I'm going to go over a few other events, kind of like art events that are coming up. Let's see here. There is something going on at Lincoln High School. It's called For the Love of Art Gala. That's on February 24th from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. Let me read to you what it says. It's for, they're aiming to raise funds for the St. Joseph's Cancer Center. Profits of the event will be donated to St. Joseph's Cancer Institute. There's going to be a lot of student artwork. I'm going to go and check it out. Again, it's on February 24th, Friday, from 5 to 8 p.m. at Franklin High School. So I really want to try and promote some of the youth activities in the South Stockton area, and we can include Weston Ranch in that as well. We're going to explore other students, other high schools and their students, and see what they have that they can share with us here at Breaking Barriers and on Spotlight. I'm trying to see if there's any other events that I know of. Oh, next month from March 1st through April 2nd is Art Against Violence. That's going to be at the San Joaquin County Fairgrounds. It's going to be a bunch of different local artists, some that we've known and some new ones. Art Against Violence has been going on for, I believe, 3 years now. I've helped with coordinating some of the event in the past. It'd be nice to see a few of you out there when the exhibit is up. Again, it's from March 1st through April 2nd at the San Joaquin County Fairgrounds. And let's see, is there anything? Do you have any questions for me, Jenna? Is there anything you want to talk about? Okay. So, again, let's make Stockton better together. Join KXVS and become a member or a sponsor. You can find us at our website, thevoiceofstockton.org. And again, we're streaming through Facebook Live, as well as the YouTube channel. Just do a search for KXVS. Thank you. I think we're wrapping it up for the day. Enjoy the day. Enjoy the sunshine, because I think we're going to have some rain coming again soon. So we'll see you next week. Thanks.